Hello, my name is Tom Piccari, and I'm a consultant at the Stark County Educational Service Center. Today, we're going to talk about self-reflection, a part of the learning process. We're going to talk about the importance of how students self-reflect and the things that they can do and some ideas that you can use with your students. A famous quote that we have heard before, but it's important to remind you before we get into the self-reflection information, is from John Dewey. We don't learn from experiences, we learn from reflecting on the experience. Keep that in mind as we go through these slides and remember how important it is for reflection for everyone. Our learning intentions today, what we are planning to do. We want to understand the benefits of establishing self-reflective processes in the classroom, understand the characteristics of a reflective learner, and identify self-assessment strategies that can be used with students. Just some ideas that you can use with your students. Let's get a common definition established before we talk about self-reflection. Self-reflection is students looking at their actions, performance, and product. For students in the arts, that product could be a musical composition. It can be a performance. It can be a piece of visual art, a sculpture. For students in academic classes, it could be an assignment, a paper that was written, etc. Students thinking about their actions and performance is also part of self-reflection, and students thinking about what can be done to improve future outcomes. As human beings, we're always trying to improve what we do. So self-reflection is a good form of doing that. Why should you include it in your teaching? Is it more work? Maybe, but it should be included for the following reasons. First of all, it will help with your student or with your OTES 2.0 standard 3.5, which states teachers involve learners in self-assessment and goal setting to address gaps between performance and potential. It encourages self-awareness and character development in your students, promotes dialogue between the teacher and the learner, allows students to take control of their own success. It helps to build independent and self-directed learners. It promotes a growth mindset. It leads to better formative assessment data. And self-reported grades has an effect size of 1.33, and it can provide up to 3 years of growth over the course of a year on Hattie's list of influences of student achievement. So as you can see, there are many, many reasons that self-reflection could and should be a part of your teaching, and it will only improve the things you do with your students and your students' outcome. What are the characteristics of a reflective learner? They're motivated and know what they are trying to achieve and why. They're proactive in extending their understanding of new topics and subjects. They use their existing knowledge to help develop their understanding of new ideas. Self-reflective learners understand new concepts by relating them to the previous experiences. Self-reflective learners also understand that additional research and reading improves their understanding. Students who are self-reflective develop their learning and thinking by building on the critical evaluation of their previous learning experiences. And they're also self-aware, able to identify, explain, and address their strengths and weaknesses. So self-reflective learners are able to better explain the learning process and talk about how to improve. As a teacher, what are you going to be able to do to promote self-reflection with your students? Just some simple questions. What's working? Think about things that are going well. What's not working? Think about what can be improved. What's next? Ask students to make a choice and a plan about how to move forward. Use this as an ongoing process instead of just a single assignment. For example, use it daily or weekly. Form a routine with reflection and self-assessment. There's a link here for 25 self-reflection questions to get students thinking about their learning. That will be part of the resource page that you can click if you are interested in learning more. Other things to make students promote self-reflection: make it fun. Put reflection questions on a die. Use apps, play games. Create portfolios. Journaling. Collaborative reflection with a classmate. Model self-reflection for your students. Most importantly, give it time and be patient. Don't say something doesn't work if you try it once. Give it time. Again, make it a routine. And there's another link here for reflection ideas for your classroom. Again, this will be part of the resource page available to you. One reflection tool that I have found quite useful is the Taxonomy of Reflection. It was developed by Peter Pappas from the University of Portland. And what he has done is taken Bloom's taxonomy and made it into a reflection tool. This tool can be adapted for teachers, administrators, and students. Today, we're going to look at the student tool and learn from it. As I said, it's modeled after Bloom's. It parallels each level of Bloom's, and it's used as a tool for students to reflect upon their performance, a project. It could be an art piece, a sculpture. It can be an assignment in an academic class. It consists of sample questions for reflection, and students move from the lower level to the higher level. And not all questions are reflected upon each time. The students can pick and choose the ones that work for them. So now let's take a look at this model. It starts at the lower level, remembering, what did I do? You move up to understanding, what was important about it? Going up the taxonomy, applying, where could I use this again? Making connections in their learning. Analyzing, do I see patterns in what I did? Evaluating, how well did I do? And creating, what should I do next? As we know, when students are creating, it's the highest form of learning and also reflection. Now let's look at each one of those areas with some more detailed questions. In the remembering or what did I do stage, students' reflection could be, what was the assignment? When was it due? Did I get it turned in on time? Those are all great reflective questions at the low level, just remembering. And for some students, that would be a challenge. So keep remembering that we have to start somewhere. And then there's the understanding section. The Bloom's understanding and the question, what was important about it? And did I meet my goals? The reflection questions for this section, do I understand the parts of the assignment or project and how they connect? Did my response or work completely cover all the parts of the assignment or rubric? And do I see where this fits in with what we are studying? Are students making connections? Is your rubric clear enough that students are able to make reflections? Please keep that in mind as students are working on this reflective tool. The next section of the taxonomy is applying. In Bloom's, the applying questions would be, when did I do this before? Where can I use this again? The student's reflection would be, how was this assignment similar to other assignments in this class or another? Making those connections. Do I see connections in either content, product, or process? Are there ways to adapt it to other assignments? And where could I use this content, product, or process in my life? Again, this part of the tool is about applying and making connections. And then we move to the analyzing stage. Do I see patterns or relationships in what I did? The reflective questions for the students: were the strategies, skills, and procedures I used effective for this assignment or project? Do I see patterns in how I approached my work? And where were the results of the approach I used? Was it efficient, or could I have eliminated or reorganized my steps? So the students are now reflecting on how well they did the assignment. The evaluating portion: how well did I do? What worked? What do I need to improve? The students' reflective questions that could be asked: what are we learning, and is it important? Did I do an effective job communicating my learning to others? That could be through the assignment, the project, the product. What have I learned about my strengths and my areas in need of improvement? How am I progressing as a learner? How am I progressing as an artist for those students who are in the arts programs? And finally, the top of the taxonomy: what should I do next? What's my plan or design? Reflective questions for the students: how can I best use my strengths to improve? What steps should I take, or resources should I use to meet my challenges? What suggestions do I have for my teacher or my peers to improve our learning environment? And how can I adapt this content or skill to make a difference in my life? These questions will help move the student forward and help them adapt it to other things. That taxonomy is from Peter Pappas. And again, that information can be found in the resources. Some reminders: students accept teacher feedback and critiques of their work and grades with fewer complaints if there's self-reflection happening, because they have a better grasp of their own work. Some other reminders about self-reflection: it moves the focus away from a grade to what they've learned, the content. It allows the students to see the teacher as a mentor and not their nemesis. The teacher is helping the student takes the lead. It does take time and consistency. The teachers have to see value in it for it to be successful. Teachers should be willing to accept different reflection modalities, meaning something written, audio, video, a project, whatever the project is, teachers should be willing to adapt to meet the different modalities. And finally, we're going to close our presentation with this quote: learning without reflection is a waste. Reflection without learning is dangerous. Think about this as you move forward with your work and your students in student self-reflection. Again, I want to thank you for your time in reviewing this video. As you know, this is sponsored by the Stark County Educational Service Center. If you have any questions or you need to contact us, the email is here on the screen. Thank you.